10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yo, welcome to another episode of A Man's Conversation presented by Men of Promise and Promised Land International Ministries. I'm Minister Craig Sanders, and my co-host
Ariel Prater
is in the house, and then we got a visitor today. My brother's in the house, Anthony Farmer from Los Angeles, California.
Hey.
What's up, brother?
What's going on?
Welcome to the A.
Hey.
How you liking it?
It's all right. They just lost my luggage and
Okay,
been at the airport.
welcome to the A.
Yeah, that's it.
So, I want to welcome you to the broadcast. It'll be your first time coming on, and Minister Prater is here, and we had a good celebration this weekend. We celebrated my wife's 50th anniversary. You guys were all in the house, and I hired this saxophonist to come in and help me with my love life with my wife. And so I asked him, I said, look, this is what I want you to do. Before we sing happy birthday, I want you to come in and
That's exactly how he said it to me.
That's exactly how I said it to him. So right before we sung happy birthday, and he's been telling me, he said, you know, when you play the saxophone, it make the boom, boom, boom drop. And I was like, I need that right now. And he played the saxophone, so I'm all excited. I'm getting home like, nah, and I went donut. 3 days later, still donut. So I want a refund. I need my deposit back. I need my
That's
money.
something on you. I don't know what's going on over there.
Your saxophone wasn't working, bro. What's going on? No. God is good. I called my brother and I said, hey, man, I want to surprise my wife. I mean, she's a woman. She kind of has everything. She has jewelry. We have houses, kids. And I don't really do big celebrations. I literally, a week before her birthday, said, hey, we going on a date.
Yep.
And she was like, a date? It was a Friday evening. And I said, yeah, come on, let's go. I said, wear something cool because it's going to be hot. So we jump in the car, and we have season tickets to the Falcons. And I knew it was a Falcons preseason game.
Yep.
So I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, let's go to the Falcons game. So I'm looking on the app trying to find the tickets. It ain't no preseason game. They're playing out of state.
They weren't playing here.
Right.
They got one preseason game.
Right.
Yep.
So I was like, dang, all right, what else can I do? So I said, all right, I'm going to take her to get something to eat. So we went to a Brazilian steakhouse.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Got her some cake and, sang happy birthday there. Then we left there and we went shopping. It's these shoes she's been asking for. So I bought her 2 pair of shoes. We're shopping for her party, which is the following week. So I'm like, dang, it's kind of early. I don't want it to end. So I was like, let's go to the movies. I'm going to take her to the movies.
Okay.
So we watched the movies I ain't never heard of. Still don't know what it was about, but it was just an enjoyable evening. So we left there. It's like 10, 11, 12 o'clock. And I was like, let's go to Crumble Cookie and get you your own cookies, because anytime I buy my wife something sweet, the little crumb snatchers that we have in the house always somehow find a way to snatch it. So at the end of the night, she was like, thank you. I appreciate it. It was just like the best birthday gift ever.
Great.
So I'm trying to think, what can I do to put the icing on the cake? And your saxophone failed me, brother. I just want to let you know.
It was beautiful.
All that around.
Hey, my girl took me home.
Hey.
It worked over there.
Uh-oh.
Didn't work in my... No. All right, so... good to see everybody. It's been a couple weeks since we've gotten together. My wife's came in and co-host with me. And again, this is a conversation that really started about 35 years ago for me, with having good conversation in the barbershop.
Right.
When I had my own shop, it was always, what is your perspective? What do you think? And, men go back and forth, and then women start coming in and they start listening, and everybody was in a learning situation. And that's the reason why we do this broadcast. That's the reason why we do this podcast, because everybody lives by their own principle. And the principle that you live by
definitely ain't what somebody else lived by.
Is not what somebody else lived by. And we expect those principles to be, like, I grew up poor. So I thought everybody grew up poor.
Right.
Where it was no food in my house. My wife, she don't eat leftovers because her daddy cooked a meal like every day. So just those differences in principles and how people live, it really defines who you are. And so what I want to talk about today is, what are some of the structure what's some of the structure and or principles or rules that you live by that have been beneficial and successful for you?
Mm-hmm.
But also, what are some that you have lived by but didn't benefit you, or you failed in those principles? And
Yeah.
I think it's a good topic to have tonight, because if we don't understand that our principles don't work for everybody else, we'll take our principles into somebody else's house and expect for them. And it happens all the time,
Right.
every day. When somebody tell me, hey, Craig, can I borrow some money? I'll pay you back when I get my taxes. I already know they're not paying me back.
Right.
I already know when April
Yeah.
comes, I'll be chasing them. So I'm going to be honest with you. I don't loan money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to loan money to my wife. Like,
I got you. Yeah.
I got to.
Yeah.
But when people come to me and they say, hey, can I borrow? Honestly, I got to consider my house first.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I learned is if I can't loan it out and understand I might not get it back,
Mhm.
then I don't loan it. That's a
Exactly.
principle that I live by, because I've loaned money out and never gotten it back.
Oh yeah. I assume when I loan money out that I'm not getting it back. That's what I assume.
See, you operate by the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be a lender, not a borrower.
Yeah.
I haven't got to that place yet, because I can't lend without getting mine back.
No, I usually, and one other thing about that, because I feel like that's close right now, but I'm not gonna give it. I feel like you're gonna get me once. No, that's it. Like, I will lend it to you, especially you're a good friend, and you have paid me back before, or you've never asked me. Okay, I'll get you. Which, we'll work out something.
Okay, well, I have a situation for you.
Yeah.
Me and you good friends, right? I've never borrowed any money from you. What's my limit on the
Maybe I
credit?
shouldn't have said that out loud, because
okay.
now people know. You got one time with me, like, and for not paying me back.
I'm gonna pay you back.
Might be April.
Hey, when taxes come, exactly.
Well, when people don't pay me back, I feel that God was teaching them a lesson, and then He taught me the lesson.
Right.
I feel you.
So
And you know what? You made that statement the other night, and it was so clear. Make the real statement. What's the whole statement? Then when somebody's going through something, God is trying to teach them something.
teach them something, because they might have knew they was spinning over their limit and already had you in mind
To bail
to
them
bail
out.
them out.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But He was teaching them a lesson, and then you came right in and bailed them out, and then they chose not to pay you now. And
Yeah. So the principle is God is trying to teach somebody a lesson, or circumstances is coming to somebody from making bad decisions.
He might be teaching you a lesson also.
And He might be teaching you a lesson not to be the God
God
in their life. So you go out and you help somebody and they don't pay you back, which the reason why they came to you is because they wasn't paying
Right.
somebody
They
back.
already-
And then
yeah.
you're a casualty of war.
Right.
And, I've had to learn that also, that, just because, we have a big house and we've always kind of let people stay with us. And I've gone to the point of, can't nobody stay with me.
That's it. Yeah.
Can't nobody stay with me, because my rules and my regulations may be somebody else's rules and regulations for their house. And it was so many people we helped. And I'll give you an example. We had a pastor friend who called us, and their electricity was getting cut off. They
Okay.
had some little kids. And I was like, well, if your electricity is going to be on in the morning tomorrow, y'all come stay with us.
Right.
So they stayed with us for a night. No big deal. Electricity was back on at 1 o'clock. A couple months later, they're getting evicted.
Oh wow.
So I was like, well, y'all come to my house till you find out what y'all going to do, and we'll go from there.
Mm-hmm.
So the wife comes over, 2 kids, bags on the floor, and it's like 11. This happened at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
It's 11 o'clock at night. Her husband walks in.
Mm-hmm.
He don't greet me. He don't greet my wife. He don't greet his wife. He goes to the bathroom, jump in the shower, and go get in the bed. And I'm like, wait, violation.
Right.
So here go my wife. Well, he's had a hard day, and they never ask if they stay with us.
Okay. Yeah. That's first of all.
So I'm being patient. I'm trying to be.
You would have been too. Yeah. Keep going, please. I got to hear the rest of this.
So things wasn't working out,
Obviously.
and it just got to a point where they had to move.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, his wife said something about me, and I basically said, look, don't put my name in your mouth, because I'm feeding you. I'm providing house for you. And the day they moved out, because I told him and his wife, I didn't say y'all couldn't stay here, but you're not bringing your principles into my house. So they got up, they got mad, they left. And this is the funniest thing in the world. I have a Yorkie,
Mm-hmm.
male Yorkie, never got out of his cage, never, he don't bark like that. He's just a mild-mannered dog. He's trained to go outside and pee.
Mm-hmm.
Gets out of his cage, walks around, and pees on the wife. So I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. She's
Right.
mad because she got dog pee on her. Well, I talked to one of my Muslim friends,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, Craig, he said, you don't know how spiritual that is. And I said, what do you mean? He said, in our faith and our belief, the two most disrespectful things that can happen to you is one, somebody throws a shoe at you.
Okay.
Remember when President Bush went over there and they threw the shoe at him? That's disrespect.
Okay.
The other was for a dog to pee on you.
Huh. Okay.
He said God was showing her through the animal that you disrespected a place I allowed you to go. And you should not have disrespected this person. So I'm going to disrespect you in the lowest of ways.
Yep.
And from that time, can't nobody stay with me.
Yeah.
Nobody else is living with me more than 48 hours.
And half of it is you do have your standards, right?
Yeah.
And you walk somebody through the house, it's almost like, here's how I live.
Right.
And I'm trying to tell you so
Right.
that we don't leave on bad terms.
Right.
But this is how we do things around here.
Right. Right.
And if you don't get with that, then you already have a problem, right? Because I'm giving you something you didn't even have the respect to say, okay, this man is really providing for us. He's really doing a solid for us right now. As we in need, right?
Right.
You the one got evicted.
Right.
First of all, you got evicted, bro. Like that's, I mean, come on, that's two grown people. You got evicted,
Right.
So
that comes. See, y'all talking about your houses, but that comes after becoming a man, because sometimes you become a prisoner in your own home after letting somebody come in and live with you.
yep.
You know,
I'm gonna share with you what happened. So they had two little kids, probably let's say 5 and 3.
Okay.
They put their kids to bed at 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
My kids were a little older, so my kids are still playing at 8 o'clock.
Right.
They had the nerve to come tell us, "Can y'all kids be quiet because my kids trying to sleep?"
Yep. Okay. Yep. Once again, you're better than me, because it would have been. I think this night might be the best night
for everybody.
So again, we're talking about principles that we live by, either helping people or just stuff that
Right.
we do. So for me, I am the cut off king. You cross me once, I'm cutting you off. And I had to learn through Christianity that it's not always cutting the person off, but I have to learn to cut off the actions that you bring that are disservices to me. And so God has really had to help me not cut people off, but still learn to deal with them in a friendship way, in a humble way, and allow my light to shine in their life, but not allow the actions that they operate in come into my space, and continue to have my structure, my standards, and operate within the protection of my house.
Right.
And that was something that I had to learn. And you talk about, being a man. Our conversation is about being a man.
Right.
The old man, the new man, the younger man. What is it that we need to learn as men to become better men?
Right.
And that's what our whole conversation is really about. I have made a lot of mistakes in my mindset and in my thought process of, if I cut them off, I ain't never got to deal with them again. But if you buy a car and you pay it off in the first month, you don't understand making payments. You don't understand having your credit, having a long credit profile. Yeah. It may be beneficial here, but it might not be beneficial here. And I learned that cutting these friends off, it wasn't beneficial for them or me, because God wanted me to operate in long patience, long suffering, and know that who I am, that I'm operating in his principles for me. And if I come to your house, my principles may not work in your house, and I gotta respect your house.
Exactly. And you have to make a big effort, right? If you are having to stay, to actually, especially staying with somebody.
Can I stay at your house?
You can, but we gonna have some ground rules.
Can I cook turkey legs for your wife when you're not home?
See, that's what we can't do. That's one of the ground rules.
That's number one ground rule.
Number one ground rule.
Give us a background. Give us a background on this ground rule, Craig.
Oh man, turkey legs.
Just a little.
Let me see here. When did this start? What, 5 years ago?
It's been a few years.
But it was something about you cooking turkey at
I fried a turkey.
Fried the turkey
for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. for Thanksgiving, and then Christmas or some other day,
Right.
but you always had turkey.
And there was something about. Did your wife taste it?
Yes, you tasted the turkey leg and some part of turkey.
She
Yeah.
been wanting to marry me ever since. I'm sorry. Why'd you get in the way, bro? This would be a lovely relationship right now.
I had to match that fried turkey. That's what it was.
Did you match it?
Oh yeah, I think it's right now.
So that's why she didn't marry me? Is that why she's not here now?
I got it right. I
Okay.
got the recipe right.
No. So Ariel has been a proponent of tasting food that I've cooked.
Yes.
His wife tasted turkey because I was trying to tell you about the
Yes.
oilless
The
turkey
oil.
fry,
Yep,
not
the
using oil
oilless.
anymore.
Yep.
And his wife was like, maybe I need to go see Craig about some fried turkey legs. And then Ariel has been insecure about me and her relationship since then. And so to help his insecurity, and this is what God called me to do, is to help people that are insecure. I gave him my recipe for fried turkey legs, and
You did though. Yeah.
and now she's semi happy.
Are we good? Yeah. No problem.
Did she say she good or you said y'all good?
I could hear every single time eating that turkey. That's what I got.
All right, let's go back to principles and stuff that we live by. We're all businessmen. You're a barbershop owner, businessman.
Yes.
I'm a former barbershop owner. You are a attorney,
State, all that. Yeah.
real estate. What are some business principles that we have that has kept us successful? And part of this is we have to learn to share with some of our mistakes. You don't have to share the whole mistake, but what are some ideologies and mindsets that we had that weren't positive? Some stuff that we've done that wasn't beneficial. And if you don't mind sharing, let's go. Start with you, brother.
Yeah.
You want
Start over there.
to start over there? Give you time to work your mind up. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'll share with you mine, and I'll be honest with you. I'm from the street, and in my barbershop, being a hood barbershop, being light skinned, and people think they could pick on you, but what they didn't know, I could actually fight.
Okay.
Okay, I have had one fight in my life that I lost, and I ain't saying who it was with.
Is it somebody in the room?
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
yeah,
I didn't know he could fight.
Oh, okay.
I ain't never.
Well, I wasn't really trying to fight with him. I was trying to just tussle with him, and then he started fighting, and I was like, "Violation, bro. We wasn't really fighting. Just a wrestling match, bro." And so somebody came in and took advantage of me, and angrily, I put hands on him,
Okay.
and I lost some customers from that because they never knew they knew the thug Craig. They didn't know the street Craig.
Right.
They didn't know the Craig that I felt offended that I'm giving the community a place to come, a place to get out of the everyday hustle and bustle in the streets of South Central LA.
Right.
But what hurt me was the customers that did not come back. The customers that felt like, oh my God, this happened in front of my son. And I had to learn, if somebody do me wrong, let it go. It's not even, at the time it was $10. It cost me $600 and some in attorney fees and going to court and going to jail.
Yep.
And when I thought about it, it wasn't worth it.
Wasn't even worth it.
So in my mindset, because of where I'm from, I'm thinking I got to defend myself if somebody do me wrong.
You got to remember you wear a title.
Right.
You wear a title.
Yep.
And if you forget that you wear a title, you become like everyone else that walks in.
Yep. Yeah. And so
that's it.
that was one of the mistakes that I made. And I've had people now, I had to threaten this guy who didn't pay for his haircut last week, but I threatened him in a nice way.
How about, I did go home and then I woke up the next day. I was like, I don't think I paid Craig. And that's the first time that's ever happened though.
But I know where you live at.
All right, that's true.
So-
But that's the first time I was like, wait. And I immediately sent it. I didn't even see.
You didn't see my text message?
I didn't see it yet, but it must have been on your mind too. Let me say something.
Well, all right. So for me, I only have 5 or 6 customers that I cut, and it's not like where it was before that when I cut your hair, I'm making sure you pay for your haircut. These are like, you come to my house, I'll come to your house. It's
Right.
again. And so I was like, did he pay me?
Yeah. I had to think about it too. The next day, I did not pay her. What?
And it was
crazy to me.
Again, it wasn't no big deal.
Right.
In the past, it has been a big deal because when you put your stuff out there, you want to get paid for it. And I sent him a threatening message. In the nicest way. And this goes back to turkey leg.
Right.
What the message say?
Something about turkey and you going to bring some over to my house, something like that. can't remember.
You want to read it?
Let me get back to it. Yeah,
Let's read it. It went back to turkey legs. So this is how I get them back. Like, I'm about to hurt you, bro. You don't want to pay me? I'm about to hurt you.
Man, what he say? Okay, yeah, what he said? Oh, when you don't pay your barber after a cut, I repo your wife and feed her fried turkey legs until you pay for your haircut.
He said he didn't read it, but he said that money. I had a tip and everything.
I didn't even see it. So
But yeah, I took a situation where I could have grown and been bigger, and I dummied myself down to dealing with the person on their terms, and it cost me greatly.
Yep.
And I don't ever want to make that mistake again. So if they don't pay me, I keep on moving. It come back someplace else, and that's what I had to learn.
Yeah.
So that's one of the business things that I had to do. And just understand people are people, and they got different ways. And there's a Judas in everybody. Somebody trying to get you somewhere, shape, form, or fashion, whatever the case may be. So what are some of the things? Because you deal with tenants and all that type of stuff. So I know your life is a little challenging.
No, I got really good tenants right now. I really do. I had to get all the bad ones out.
Right.
That had to happen. My first thing is, in business, especially with tenants and real estate and everything, just don't take things too personal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everybody is just trying to better themselves.
Right.
You got to remember that at the end of the day. It's like, it's not personal against you, because you always want to be like, is it because of me? Is it because, how I look or something like that? No, they really are just trying to get the best they can get out of you. You're also doing the same thing, and don't take that stuff too personal. It's almost like, even I'll go back to because aren't you glad you learned that lesson early though? Still,
I am, because the older I got, the more money I made, and then going into a situation where I'm working with celebrities and stuff like that.
And you could have ran into the situation again. Yep. And you probably did.
I have.
And it's like, well, okay, well, I already saw this, so let me move past this. Yep.
I've learned that everything you do is business. If you start business off wrong, it's going to get you in the long run. Yeah. So you can just say if you had a car for sale and you were selling it for $7,000, and the guy said, "Well, I have 6 and I'll pay you when I get paid," and he walks off with the car, you just did bad business.
Yep.
So it's everything you do is business, because you are your name. Yep. Your business is your name. Yep. So, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I just want to say this. If you have a comment or you want to say something through email us at menofpromise2018@gmail.com, or you can call in with a comment or a statement at 470-412-0917. And I forgot to give my please like, please follow, please share on your social media platforms, because it may be somebody who needs to hear this conversation. And again, we're talking about principles, character, morals, and standards that we need to operate by, but we also have to respect that other people operate by other principles and standards that are positive, that work in their area, right? Like they work, for you, right? And so, business contracts, I'm doing some consulting, and I'm consulting for people who are in contract litigation, and I found out that the person that's suing them is operating by the contract that benefits them, but then they're not operating about the contract that don't benefit them. And in law, you have to know how to defend yourself. And I'm consulting people and showing them, if they're going by the contract, you got to read the whole contract to see what's in your favor. And then that teaches you how to defend yourself. Right. Because the Bible says we perish because of lack of knowledge. And my consulting business is taking off, brothers. All right, that's what's up. So we need to understand it's important to have principles. It's important to have structure. It's important to have these things in your life. And I'll show you how there are 3 different principles. They all work the same. Okay. Let's take a house. House has 4 walls. House has windows on all 4 walls. Has a door in the front, has a door in the back. What is the principle for the house, the doors, and the window? They're all there together to protect the homeowner. The window is there, so for one, you can see in and out. Number 2, the window is there. You can let the window up, so it'll let air in and out, right? So even though the principle of the window is to protect, it's also there for a limited purpose to allow air in and out.
Right.
What's the door there for? The door is there so you can get in and out, right? But it's also to protect the house. But by its dynamics, it lets air in, it'll let water in, it'll let varmints in, it'll let you in and out, it'll let people in and out.
Right.
So even though all three of these things are on this house, they all have three different purposes, which work hand in hand. But the principle of the wall can't be the principle of the window.
Right.
Because I guarantee you, if you run through that window, it'll be easier than trying to run through that wall. And so we have to start thinking deeply about the principles that we operate in, and then the sub principles. The house is the biggest principle. The doors and the windows complement, but they got two different functions.
Right.
They all mean the three different functions. And in each one of them, they do the same thing. It's for entering and exiting, entering and exiting.
Right.
But that wall ain't no entrance and no exiting. And so when we put our principles together and we erect our principles, what principles do we give a little bit on? Because that window has to give for air to get in and out. That door has to open and close for people to come in and out. But how do we establish that in the lives of other people? How do we establish that in the lives of our business and customers and things of that nature?
I want to go back to something. I think that was a good segue, and we can keep going on that. But I want to take it back to something he said.
Okay.
And it is good business practices, right? Good business habits. But then something else that you said, and it's I almost want to put it back into I'm a stickler, or I do these things because I always have to do them. That's my principles.
Right.
And thinking back about, and I want to marry the two together.
Go ahead.
Because I'm trying to think, business wise, right? At what point is it too much for being a stickler on your principles? 'Cause that's where you're kind of going.
Yeah.
Where is it too much? Because I was thinking about my tenants,
Right.
things like that. Okay. Had tenants for 3-4 years now that I really like. They're good. And then every once in a while they'll come to me, hey, I might be late this month, but I always get it. We're fine.
Right.
I could operate in, no, you're late.
Right.
I'm going to need this, this, and this. And if it ever happens again, you're out.
Right.
I could always do that.
Right.
Why wouldn't I do that? It's because I do respect the people, right? And I know they have a history with me in doing that.
Right.
So just taking it back to that, I think you can, because would that be a bad business practice to do that? For some people, it could be, right?
It could be. But so let's go to the foundation of what you're saying. These people you have a relationship with, they're not typically late. Their characteristics are not typical of being late every month.
Right.
So you're the window. You're opening the window. You're saying, okay, look, you're going to be late, but this is what I need from you. I need the late fees. If you give me the late fees when you pay it, I'll accept it.
Right.
And I appreciate you being here because based on my contract, I could not accept it.
Exactly. Right.
And so that's why I brought the door, the wall, the window in, because we need to be able to have some kind of leeway with people.
Right.
We can open that window when we want to in the day when it's hot, but then when it gets cold, what do? We still got to close it. So we have to be versatile. This is the problem. My brother said it is when you do bad business and don't stick to your principles. And that's why contracts are very, very, very important. Very important.
Can I tell you a story? What happened?
Sure.
When I was first opening my barbershop, I had a loan that went through that didn't go through. And I was in the middle of getting the shop. And I was renting a house from a guy for about 4 years. And I've never been late or anything. So it was either pay my rent or give this money to the people to get the shop open.
Right.
So I went to my landlord and I asked him, I said, man, I told him my dilemma. And he said, you really gonna open a barbershop? You serious about it? I said, yeah. He said, well, go open your barbershop. Don't worry about paying me the rent. And then he said, if you need 2 months, just tell me. It's all right. You've been with me 4 years. He said, and I trust you. And I rented his house for about 15 years. He passed away.
Wow.
And the wife didn't tell me that he passed away because she didn't know our relationship.
Right.
And I found out like 2 years after he passed away. I called, I usually just send the rent off and don't even talk to him. And I just wanted to talk to him about moving this gate. This gate was like, So I asked, can I speak to him? And she was like, can I help you? I said, no, I want to talk to him. And she said, well, he passed away.
Wow.
And I said, when? She said, 2 years. I said, why wouldn't you tell me he passed away?
Right.
And she said, I was afraid that, because they lived in another state.
Okay.
I was afraid that you would stop paying your rent.
Right. Right.
And I said, I pay on time
Yeah.
all the
All the
time.
time. Yeah.
You know? And me and her got close. So we
Okay.
started talking more and more. But then when the COVID hit, all the houses and everything went up. So she wanted to sell the house, so I had to move. You know, I moved into another place. But it was, you know, just the relationship that he had with me. He helped me to get to where I'm at.
And I would say
And
that's the door situation. You open and you close. You give and it comes to you. And that's the thing is some people understand. And just like he said, you've been there 4 or 5 years. Go start your business, because I know when your business comes, you'll be able to. Right.
Exactly.
And if you got to pay me, you know, over the next 2 months, do what you got to do. Those are the good people in the world.
Exactly.
And we have to learn to operate like that until, like you said earlier, do me wrong one time and I'm done. And I understand that.
Yep.
I do understand that. And that goes back to me, do me one time and we done. Also, where I had to learn, all right, you can do me wrong. I'm not going to hold it against you, but I'm not allowing you what you did to ever affect me again in my life.
Okay. Yeah.
That's where I am.
Yeah, you know, times are not the same as they used to be.
Oh no.
Where they're the word I'm looking for is loyalty.
Yeah.
There's no loyalty, you know.
You mean loyal to somebody else?
They're just being loyal.
Well, there's people out there that's loyal to themselves. It's called selfishness.
Yes. Well,
I'm talking about loyalty in a business relationship.
Yeah, well, sometimes people take the word selfishness, but selfishness sometimes cannot be a bad word.
Well,
either,
you're
selfish.
You're talking about subsection A under selfishness. I'm talking about number one selfishness. Let's talk about selfishness.
Selfishness, yeah.
And then let's talk about your subsection A selfishness.
Yeah.
Give me your definition.
Well, sometimes it's, you know, when people say you're selfish, but how can you be selfish to yourself?
Right.
It can be a protection.
Yeah.
To be selfish.
Or it could be a way of life that you think about yourself first.
Yes.
Now, the problem is when that selfishness, thinking about yourself, goes above and beyond what it should be.
It goes into your other relationships or the people that really do.
Because
care about you.
to me, people have always called me selfish because I didn't give them my last, but I needed my last to live.
Right.
But I've given you I gave you 90% of what I had. And then that other 10%, when I say no, then I'm selfish. No. Selfishness, subtitle A, section A says I got to look out for myself first.
Well, when people borrow from you, and they assume because the way you run your life.
Oh yeah.
They don't know the sacrifice that you made to even give that to them.
Right.
You might have the big houses, the nice cars, but you sacrifice to get that stuff.
Yeah.
No, I understand.
And you might still be sacrificing to keep them things.
Right.
Me and my wife had to stop helping people. Number one, I found out just because you have it, you don't have to give it. But because we're givers, people would take advantage of us. Like in the situation, we had a friend. She was staying with us, 3 kids, and she just disappeared. I got a job interview. For like a week, she was gone. She ain't calling. Kids ain't got no food. They ain't got no lunch money. And it's like people would take advantage of us because they knew we will be at home.
Yep.
They knew we take care of our kids. They know we eat dinner, you know, every night. We cooking, we there. And instead of just communicating with her, we was like, nah, you got to come get your kids and go because
you got to go.
You're adding 3 more kids on top of what we're dealing with. And not saying our kids were too much, but those are our responsibilities.
Yeah.
3 more don't. So you're really taking advantage of me and
my kids too. You're taking away from them too. Yeah.
And so we learned, and it goes back. Can't nobody stay with me no more. I'm sorry.
Do borrowers put limitations on what they borrow from you?
No.
Absolutely not.
Why is the problem that you can't put limitations on what you give?
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, I was talking to my mom because I'm a genuine giver. I give.
But what you got to give today?
Well. let me explain it to you. This is one of my biggest mistakes that I've learned, and just because growing, is that I think that I don't ask somebody for something if I don't really need it. So I assume everybody else is in that same mindset. which that was the wrong thing
Right.
to assume. You know, so
Yeah, people want yours and they'll
theirs.
take theirs.
Yeah.
They'll keep theirs
Yeah.
and want yours.
So I had a long talk with my mother, and she told me, "You're a genuine giver, so so you have to select and choose wisely,
Mm-hmm.
and pray about what you give."
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do, and either you're gonna learn to do it that way, or you're gonna learn the hard knocks way. And we had to learn. I think some of it God was telling us to help people, but this is what happens when you help people. They tend to take it for granted
Yeah.
and not
Always.
appreciate
Yeah.
what you've done or what
Right.
you're doing. Oh, they let me stay. Like the guy, we let him stay when his electricity was out, but he just assumed
It was always open for
it was
there on
always
out.
open.
Mhm.
And my wife say I'm mean, but I operate off of, first of all, what got them in this situation?
Evicted.
Evicted.
That means no money was coming in somewhere.
That means no money was going out to keep the house. that he was in.
Exactly. And I mean, for me, that shows that somebody didn't take care of some responsibilities.
And how can you get out of a hole when you're in a hole
Right.
if
Thank
you're
you.
helping them?
So, with helping them or helping other people, they got comfortable.
Mhm.
And now we put them in the smallest room. If somebody stayed, we put them on the couch, the let out couch.
Yeah.
Cause we got bruh, I'm gonna be honest with you. I got a mattress that's 20 years old
Mhm.
and it's the best sleeping mattress in my house. And so we would put them in, that's the guest room
And that
mattress.
one, yeah, they be
Bro,
they
get
be there
there.
for 2 months.
Yeah, yeah. We bought a couch bed. We bought a pull-out couch. They get on the couch now. If they got to stay with me, they on it, and that's the worst.
Yeah.
Little flimsy mattress, and so
Because you don't have to be there.
right.
And I really feel like we do need to be more selfish sometimes. Like I feel like I'm starting to really get there now. Just get the self, because I think of it as you and your family, right?
Mhm.
Who's gonna take care of them? That it's just you. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And
if you don't-
when you're in need,
Exactly.
who's going to help you?
Exactly.
The same people that you help.
Ain't gonna help you.
And-
I can't ask some people for nothing. Yeah.
And that's what my father told me.
Mm-hmm.
He broke it down to me like this. He said you have an EQ.
Mm-hmm.
You ground the EQ out to 0. And you hope that your friendship with a friend is like you move yours up to 10 and his is moved down to 5. So he can only do so much to help you.
Yeah.
It's not in him. But you'll do all these other things to help him.
Well, I think
good.
we have to be givers and we have to give in certain areas. The question is, when is giving too much? When do we have to stop? When do we pull back?
Right.
And then when do we have to say, that's enough?
Exactly.
That's sometimes it's a learning situation. And
Well, I
again,
always feel like they'll figure it out. That's where I'm really starting to get to. Like
Well,
the people that are wanting yours and already have theirs,
they've already
like,
figured out that
exactly.
they can get it
Right.
from you. And you're right.
I think I really am starting to think that way. Like, hey, man, it's just, they'll figure it out.
You were their first choice.
Right.
And after you, who was they going to go
Exactly.
to?
'Cause
So
they-
right.
they went down the list.
Yeah.
They seen you with the things you do, how you spend your money, and
So I had a friend call me today before I started the podcast. Hey, bro, can I borrow $50? And I was like, sure, I'll give you $50. So I only use one payment method, which is Zelle. I don't use Cash App. I don't use Chime. If it's not Zelle, I don't use it. So I've had a conversation with this friend about using Zelle. Like, he's like, I can receive money, but I can't send money. So I'm like, all right, well. So he was like, can you Zelle it to my friend? And I said, no, I don't know your friend.
Right.
Well, can you Zelle it to your daughter and she'll Cash App it to me? And I'm like, no, that's too, no. So I asked him a question. I said, sir, I'll ask you a question. You're a smart man. I said, if you walk outside and you see that your tire is flat, but you got to go to work, do you drive the car to work, continuing with it being flat, or do you put air in the tire, fix the tire so that you can get to work all the time? He never answered the question. He actually hung up the phone.
yeah.
So I don't mind giving the $50, but you knew that your Zelle wasn't working 2 months ago. You didn't.
You're going to ask me for something and then put stipulations
Right.
on the way that
Right.
I do it
Guilty.
for you.
Yep.
Nah,
Yep.
can't do that. It
So
doesn't
you're
work
gonna
like
send
that.
me through something.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
And I'm not going through that.
Right.
I'm not going. And so those are the character issues or structure and standards that I operate in, but I'm called selfish.
Oh yeah,
I'm selfish because you didn't think about you taking care of your flat tire. My flat tire taken care of. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's one thing that a principle that benefits me is being prepared. Like right now, I have 2 deep freezers. I have enough food in my deep freezer for about 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
Some cooked, some uncooked. My brother came into town and I said, hey, I'm about to barbecue for y'all. They didn't even know it. I went to my freezer and I thawed out some barbecue that I cooked in May of earlier this year.
I already know. He know I like to try out anything he be cooking out over there.
Lamb out.
Don't tell people. Don't tell people. Don't feed you. They want to come over for dinner.
Yeah,
I'm trying to look for where the freezer is.
It's in the basement. I mean, it's in the garage.
I'm gonna be flying back. Okay. And I'm gonna take me a cooler back with this.
There you go.
Good luck taking the cooler back. You can sit down at the table and get 2 pieces of ribs, but you ain't taking no cooler back. But no, it's preparation, and sometimes we have to prepare to be taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Because we're always in the blind, thinking the goodness of them is like the goodness of me, and we have to look at their character.
There's no way I can owe you money, and you walk in and ask me for the money, and I say, "Oh man, I don't have it." It'll come straight out of my pocket.
Yeah. But that's your character.
That's you.
That's your character, and that's what I was
Everybody's
trying to tell you.
Yeah.
That's how it is. Yeah. And like I said, I don't lend money unless I know it. Unless in my mind I'm giving it away.
The only person I lend money to, and it's stipulations first and foremost, to my wife. The only person. And I don't even ask for the money back. I just ask for favors. I need some favors. I need it at 3 o'clock in the morning. I need it at 5 o'clock. You can't say no to me. Once I give you this loan, the first stipulation, there is no in your response to any question I ask.
That's funny.
We gonna keep these payments going for the next 50 years, whether you pay me back or not.
That's it.
So yeah, but even with this podcast, the concept was to be, there's rarely any time that we've had notes. The only time we really had notes is when we did a part 2.
Yeah.
But it's go by the fly, be led by the Lord, let God lead the conversation, and whatever you want to share, you choose to share, you don't share. Like we had a conversation, I was like, well, tell us this. And I was like, well, you don't have to tell everything, but just tell us the parts where people need to hear. Because they don't need to know our personal business, but they need to know how we make decisions and things like that. And even for me, I'm the type of person that I've always shared. Didn't matter what I was sharing because nobody can really touch what I'm doing. But I don't mind giving sometimes some intricate details, and then sometimes I just tell a story. But the whole goal is, what I learned is people listen to what I say. Then they go back and they think about it, or they'll judge their situation on what they're doing by an outside ear, which is me. When I went to LA a couple months ago, me and my brother went to one of my friends' house. And he threw a party for me. He threw a pool party for me. And my brother, he got a big family. And when my brother said he was coming, out of respect to this guy's house, I said, hey, my brother coming. It's like 11 of them. The guy said, Craig, this party for you. So whoever you invite, they welcome to come.
Right.
And even though we didn't prepare for 30 people, it was enough for 30 people.
Right.
But my brother and his family coming added to the party. And it was just even a more joyous celebration.
Right.
So for me, and I'll be honest with you, nobody invites me and my family to parties.
That's not true.
Well, hold on. I said nobody. You're somebody. You are somebody. Honestly, the people that I know that have parties that invite us versus the people who have parties and don't is you and my cousin. We don't get invited to parties like that because when we come, it's 9 of us.
Okay.
And we don't mind bringing, but at the same time, they just be like, nah. And I just be like, wow. Because every party we have.
Yep. You invite a bunch of people.
Right. Whether they come or not, that's on them. But I noticed that we don't get invited. It's few and far between, but I just found out it's really people who they not thinking, oh, if they come, they're going to eat a lot of food. I don't even mind bringing something because it's a bunch of us.
We know that. Yeah.
But
you can always show up at my house. You good to go. Like, and
some parties they meant to go to.
True. What did you just say?
I said you don't have to bring nothing. You good. Especially you can leave the turkey wings at home, turkey legs, all that.
Well, you said something before you said that. You're always
welcome. Yeah, you're always welcome.
when you go to work. Am I welcome?
I'd say your family.
Oh, okay.
You and your family. Yeah.
Yes, you have to
Come to the door.
I gotta bring the whole family.
11.
Well, exactly. Bring all them kids. That'll stop anything.
Okay.
Anything going
Okay.
down.
All right. So we're talking about. Go ahead.
Well, I'm not the same man I was a week ago.
All right.
I'm learning as I'm going.
Yeah.
It's no book on learning how to be good and how to protect yourself and how, but you learn by the experience
Yeah.
as it comes.
Definitely.
Yeah, and that's part of what our the base of this podcast is. And we started off dealing with men today versus 30 years ago versus where the future of men are going. And there is no dialogue there. I mean, there's dialogue. There's no written manual on how to be a man.
Right.
There's a manual on baking a cake, making cookies, how to fix a car, but there's no manual on how to be a man. And that experience is only going to come with either learning from another man, the school of hard knocks, and going out there and knocking your head and having a change, or that experience with God where God is like, look, I need you to do something different, which was my experience.
Right.
And so with these different dynamics, the reason for this podcast is to share all those dynamics, how God did it for us, how we made mistakes. And, our last podcast is, what's the future looking like? Because men ain't the same. They're not learning the same.
Future looking bad.
I have a barber, and anytime I say something to him, he gets butthurt. Like I'm hurting his feelings. When I first started cutting, Craig my brother was showing me technique.
Right.
He was showing me what to do and what it can save time. And when I see another barber going through that,
You want to help him?
I want to help him. When Craig was teaching me, I took it in because I wanted to learn. I
Right.
really wanted to know.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a barber now. I just like
Can't help him.
I've been cutting a kid's hair for like 6 years, so I know how he wears his hair. So he sits in his chair, and I just
Yeah.
You try to help them.
I see him going through it over
Right,
there, and
right.
Yeah. Just
and
trying
then
to
he
help.
gets hurt. He said this to me. He said, "What, do you want to cut his hair?"
I mean,
I said, "Yeah."
Maybe need to be over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Men are not the same. Like
Right.
we're softer now. We don't have that texture of another man telling us something.
Well, I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell you why. They don't drink out of water hoses. They ain't got to be in the house by the time the lights come on. They can't navigate nowhere. I knew my whole neighborhood back and forth, dawn, dusk, and during the day.
And how to get through the back way.
Right, right. And I'm gonna share this with you. So I lived in a Crip neighborhood, and in LA, the streets are like 90th Street, 91st Street, 91st Place. So you might have 15 blocks that are between the 90s and the 100s,
Right.
and then you had a gang that was from the 80s. Then you have a gang that's in the 100s,
And across
And
Van Ness
right, and then-
is the blood.
so I lived on the street where it was the divide between LA and Inglewood. So
Okay.
across the street was Bloods, and Bloods and Crips don't get
Ground
along.
zero.
But I grew up in the Crip side, but my barbershop was in the Blood side.
Okay.
But because I went to school and knew the Bloods, they knew I wasn't gang banging,
Right.
so they allowed me to do business. They also allowed my Crip friends to come over there because they wasn't, well, it was a little beef one time, but I
Right.
told my Blood friends, if you gonna fight my Crip friends, then you gotta fight me too, which puts our friendship and
Right.
relationship
Right.
in jeopardy. So I'm gonna tell you what happened one night. I'm leaving my house at 9:30 at night. This Cadillac is following me. Every right turn I make, he made. Every left turn I made, he made. And I'm like, these people, they trying to shoot me.
Yeah.
So I said, this is what I'm gonna do. Not too far from where I live was a place called The Bottoms. And it's a part of Inglewood. And the reason why they call it The Bottoms is because you really can't get no lower. So they call it The Bottoms. So this car, when I say he's not close to me, but every time I make a right, every time. So I knew he was a Crip because he came out of a Crip neighborhood.
Right.
Bloods really don't come into the Crip neighborhood. So I'm driving down this street, and so I make a left, and The Bottoms is on my right side. So he's still behind me. So I said, all right,
Gotta
you
make
want
that turn.
to mess with me? All I turned right into the bottom. And he made the turn, but he turned back to go straight. Because them Crips getting caught in that blood neighborhood would have been disaster.
Yeah.
We knew and we learned how to navigate certain situations as kids. My kids couldn't navigate out of a Kroger grocery store.
Mine's neither.
And that was our conversation before. Are we cursing the next generation because of the stuff that we
That's
give
just
them?
not their struggle. That's not the struggle.
We walked home from school.
Right.
You know, my kids get picked up. The mother won't let them walk.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not that far from the house.
Yeah.
Well, it's still a different world out there, though, too. Like,
It is.
it's
But
a little bit different out there.
for me, my kids getting on that bus. You can unless you miss your bus. My wife, I want to take them to the bus stop. It's chilly outside. I'm like, it's chilly outside at school. Or you walking
Right.
We got up at 6 o'clock and had to be at that bus stop. Rain, snow.
Yeah.
Well, one of the high schools I went to, I walked to school.
You know what I appreciated though? They bused me. So I went to the Valley School.
Okay.
So I learned a whole different flavor,
stuff, yeah.
You know, than just the hood.
Right.
You know, and so it well balanced me.
Well, the school that you should have went to that you got bussed out to another school, I walked to that school every day. So it's a high school in LA. It's Washington Preparatory High School.
Yeah.
And all the Crip gangs that don't get along, that's the battlefield.
They go to that school.
They go to that school.
Right.
And me and my buddy, it would take us 35 minutes. We would just walk to school every morning. We walked
35
through
minutes.
3 different neighborhoods.
Man.
But we wasn't gangbanging, so
Right.
they didn't bother us.
Right.
And then the other thing is most gangsters ain't up at 8 o'clock in the morning,
Right.
so we had to worry about that. All right, we had a good conversation
Yeah, man,
today.
it's
If
good.
you have a comment, you want to call in, you want to make a comment, you want to ask a question, call us at 470-412-0917 or send us an email at menofpromise2018@gmail.com. So, all right, let's summarize this conversation for today. We'll start with you, A. Or do you want to pass to...
I'm always passing.
All right,
I
okay.
get more knowledge when I speak out.
All right, Eric,
up,
this is the
man?
summary of today's
No, this was
conversation.
good. I think one of the main things that that really came to me was being selfish, being a stickler, right, and being mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What people call you when you're really just trying to protect yourself and your
Oh
house.
my gosh. Yeah.
So I mean, I hate it for you. You can call me all that, right? But you got to look out for number one sometimes. You really do.
Yeah.
I quit loaning money.
I like that one. I like that one too.
If I'm gonna give you something, I'm just gonna give it to you. Here you go, because it destroys friendships. And it's just money.
Yeah.
You know, like when you have something going, it comes, it goes. Money's gonna come and go.
Right.
I might spend my last on an investment because I know it's coming back.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I look at it like that. You know.
Well, selfishness is spending your last on yourself because you know you're going to survive. Somebody will call you selfish because you won't spend your last on them.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's their selfishness, not yours. So to summarize today, we have to erect character, principles, morals, and standards for our life. What window do we open to give a little bit?
Yep.
What door do we open to bless somebody else with? We have to figure out what that means to us and how that benefits us and how it's a negative to us. I don't loan money. I'll be honest with you, brother. I love you. I will loan you some money, but Ariel, I ain't loaning you jack.
feel you.
No, I'm gonna loan you a lot because I know where you live at.
I feel you.
No, but
you know I'm gonna pay back.
yeah, you owe me some money for something else, and I'm gonna bring that up another day. Just give me the money. We'll talk about being selfish later. You know, there are a lot of people who don't, and even with this generation, is very self-centered, selfishness, and not giving in certain areas, and so we have to learn to navigate through that. But this is what I learned: if you give unto God, when you give somebody something, whether they pay you back or not, even if you made a mistake and you shouldn't have did it, give it as unto given to God, because he'll always bring it back to you.
It brings it back.
And then we have to fall back on, is God trying to teach them a lesson and we getting involved and messing up, or is God teaching them a lesson and we get involved? Now he got to teach us a lesson.
too. Yep.
We both lessons being taught both ways.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I've made the mistake on both ends, not giving when I should have, and then giving when I should have, which now makes me say, all right, Father, what do I do with this situation? What do I do? And we're gonna end on this. I had an elderly lady who's a real good friend of mine. She's a customer. I met her in the Taco Bell. Older white lady. She adopted a black kid.
Okay.
So I've been cutting this kid's hair since he was 3 months old. He just turned 15.
Okay.
She ends up in a situation where she lost where she was living. She needed a place to stay. So I was like, you can stay with me for a couple days. She was pushing it where she was trying to stay longer. And I kept telling her, I can only help you till Monday.
Yeah.
She was bringing her principles into the house, which was disrespecting my wife.
Right.
And this is where we also got to come in. Where's my weak point, and then who's the balance to help me out? Because then my wife came in and said, well, she can't stay no more. She ended up going to the hospital, and my wife packed all her stuff up and to take her stuff to the hospital. She didn't even know I delivered it. I just took it, and that was the way out. And I had to lean on my wife because she was my friend.
Yep.
But once her principles start
Exactly.
not balancing, but being a negative in the household,
Gotta go.
we got to go. She got to go. She had to go. So with that being said, this is another episode of A Man's Conversation, which is not just privy to men, but it's also privy to women, families, children, and the community. So we will meet back with you guys next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Hopefully our hosts won't be late like they were today, but we're going to be giving. It's okay because you're not from here and you don't understand this Atlanta traffic. So blessings to all those. We hope that you saw something, heard something, believed something. You can share something with somebody. And Bishop in the booth, he's the only person I know take communion 7 times a day. But this is the thing, you're supposed to take bread with the wine. He only got the wine. Like, where the bread at? We can't hear you. Yeah, he's so drunk he can't even turn his microphone on, y'all.
What are you talking about?
Oh,
I
there
can
you
turn
go.
the mic
There,
on.
there you go. How do you think about the conversation today, Bishop?
A little bit dull. I had to get rid of that person. What's the one on the right side?
We need if on me, Ariel, he's needed in this conversation. I don't know what you're talking
Right
about.
side.
Oh, his right side. He drunk. He not in. He don't even know what direction. Hey, well, let me say this: no matter where you are, erecting your standards and your structure, or breaking some down to not be a hard ass, you got to be somewhere in the middle. But you got to go to God to figure out where you should be. We'll see y'all next week.
Yeah.
Blessings.
All right.